I think we're all of us are parents, and we love to say yes to our kids. We love to give them everything that we didn't have, give them everything that they want.
Yep.
But obviously, giving them everything they want has adverse effects. So, according to this article, why parents should say no to their children, the article says is kids need to feel discomfort. Secondly, kids need to learn to wait. Often we just, don't want them to wait. We don't want them to suffer or struggle. Boundaries make kids feel secure. And finally, they also let the kids know when the parents are in charge. And finally, actually, last point is kids need parents to be parents, not friends, right? So really, touchy subject. Jason, do you struggle saying no to your kids?
I don't say no because I'm trying to build a kid who's a world beater. And I think that, saying no and creating those types of boundaries is not working towards that. I think you look at the background of the biggest leaders in industry over the last X amount of years, your Bezos, your Musk, your Jobs. These were people who they didn't wait around to be told no. Even as kids, they were out exploring, being curious, doing their thing, right? I don't necessarily think it's good to say no.
Okay. How about you, Kurt? Do you say no to your kids first of all, and what do you think what's the benefits of saying no?
Jason has a
good
interesting
point. Yeah.
take on it, and I guess I haven't looked at it that way, so it's good that you brought that into the forefront. But for me, I think kids need to realize that they can't always get their own way, because what happens is, as parents, we always say, you know what, the kids are good. They haven't done anything wrong. I want to give them things that I never had. So sometimes when they ask for stuff, you find a way to give it to them. But the reality of the situation, this world is, you could be a nice person, but you're not always going to get what you want. And how do you deal with that? So if you, from a young age, constantly give people things, or your children things, and the minute somebody else outside the family says no, they don't know how to react, right? It's either you find another way to do something, or you struggle, right? And then I'm starting to see a lot of kids now, they don't know how to deal with rejection, and they have these outbursts because, again, they have not been told no their entire life. So when somebody tells them no, they don't know how to act, right? And it's scary because you're starting to see some of these kids act out in public, right? And now, because you haven't reined them in, it's a hard fight now to bring them in line, because, again, while they're growing up as toddlers and growing up, they've been getting everything they want. So now you tell them no, they don't know how to deal with it.
I agree with you 100%. 100%. Like, I'm on the no boat. Like, you have to say no. It's so hard. Like, I'm probably the worst at it. I say yes to my daughters, everything they ask for. My wife is the one that says no more often than not, actually always, right? But I appreciate that, right? Because if neither of us said no, I think we would build really, really soft children that, as you mentioned, Kurt, they're not made for the real world, because, we love them, we care about them, we will do anything for them, right? They go into the real world and they're faced with people. For them, it's just another person, right? And are they going to be able to handle that adversity? Are they going to be able to handle people saying no? Are they going to be able to not get their way and not get everything they want, right? And are they going to be able to, work in that environment and convince others and influence others, right? If you don't teach them early, I don't think you're really doing an advantage. How about you, Keisha? What do you think?
Okay, so I think it's important that you have to look at the age of the children, right? Being a parent is a journey. So yes, in the beginning, when they're little and you are looking as their parent, it is your job. Throughout their entire lives, you're going to want to protect them. But let's think about when they're young. They don't understand the dangers of things. So you're going to say no to them constantly because they may want to do things or that will put them at harm, So you're going to say no, and you're going to have to teach them when they're very little how to accept that no, because they will throw a tantrum. And I was raised by a single mom, West Indian, Jamaican. So if she said no, no means no, right? And you learn that very quickly, because I would get a flick or a pinch or whatever. And growing up, having my own children, those are not the same kind of tactics I would use with my kids, because that's just not my style of parenting. But as they get older and they transition from like a toddler into like grade school, yes, you're going to want to tell them no, but to Jason's point, which I never even thought of, that you want them to grow up to be successful people. And do you think those people were successful because they were told no, or because they didn't take no for an answer?
Yeah.
So with my daughter, now she's 15, and if I say no to her and it's something she wants passionately, then she needs to figure out a way to convince me to change that no into a yes.
Exactly.
Because I told her no to begin
That's
with.
right.
So,
Problem solve.
exactly. Like,
Yes.
use your influence. And we talked about influence earlier. Use your influence and tell me, like, why should I change that no into
Exactly.
a yes? Negotiate with me. Explain to me, like, what is the benefit of you getting, this that you asked for? Like, she wanted a MacBook. You don't have a job.
Right.
So no, we're not buying you a MacBook. But what she did was she saved up every birthday money, every Christmas money that she got. And then we went in and we covered half of the MacBook.
Excellent.
So, but initially it was a
Right.
no, but she figured out a way to turn that
Right.
no into a yes. So I do think it's important to build character, especially when they're little, you're going to tell them no a lot more. But as they get older, you say no, but then leave the door open. How can you convert my no into a
Right.
yes?
I had relatives that were, which I thought were like spoiled, because I didn't get anything. We didn't have cable, never went on vacations, didn't really have any toys, but I had relatives that would have everything, right? And as they grow up, I thought that, hey, my parents were the worst and they always said no, and, but you realize that puts you in as an advantage in life, right? You don't realize that. And so because I didn't have much growing up, except a lot of love, I try to give everything I didn't have. Now I'm thinking that it's doing, having adverse effects because I'm giving everything to them. They don't have that adversity. They don't have me saying no. And when I say no, I'll cave in an hour later. Okay, let's go, right? Or let's do it, right? So I think if parents can, just swallow I don't want to say swallow their pride, but just, bite their tongue and just say no, I think you will see them being advantaged a lot more than disadvantaged, because life isn't easy. Life is difficult. And I think it builds toughness, character, not getting your way, thinking of other things to do, right? Calling a timeout, no more iPad today. Hey, no more iPad for the weekend. How difficult is that, right? But, when you do those things and you push things like that, they're driven to be curious. They're driven to think differently. They're driven to explore, right? So I think there's a lot of advantage of saying no.
I agree with you 100%. And everybody is actually correct with regards to how they want to deal with it. And it does come down to their age when you say no to them. But again, you tell a kid no, you can't access your iPad for a certain amount of time, they automatically just start snapping. They don't know what to do. But if you start instructing them from a young age to say, okay, you can't always have certain things, they're going to find other things to do, right? Maybe they'll pick up a book they haven't read in how long. Maybe they'll play Lego, because again, we provide our kids with a lot, right? And there's a lot of options, but if you notice, they gravitate to social media or the iPad, YouTube all the time, right? So it takes away everything else you bought, right? But again, and I feel like if you don't start instructing them from a young age to find creative ways to do other things, it's going to hinder them as they get older. It's almost like somebody going for a job, right? And they've never been told no. How are they going to react to that? Right? Somebody could either go home and improve upon their interview skills to be like, okay, I need to work on this, or get a certain certificate in order to put me in a different bracket. But otherwise, they're going to go home and just beat up themselves and feel like nobody wants them, they're not worthy. And you've seen how certain people react And I think it comes down to them always getting their way and never hearing a no. And now they have no idea how to act.